All right, it is Friday. Let's talk about specs.
It's Friday!
Our video guy no longer has eardrums. Let's talk about specs. QMIs.
You're saying specs. Yeah, quick. Don't say specs. Pete Lang is having a heart attack right now, right?
All right. What do they call them?
Tim O'Brien Homes calls a spec home, what would normally be a spec, as a move-in ready.
Oh, we got move-in ready. We got Marcus, who calls them QMIs.
QMI. Quick
We've got
move-in.
other people who've got specs.
We got some people call them spec. They call them ready homes.
So we have a lot of clients that are dealing with a lot of, I'm going to say specs guys for this one.
Yeah.
Specs sitting and not selling.
Yeah.
I want you to reflect on that. Like, what can we do as salespeople? How can we react to this? And how can we get these things moved? We've got a couple weeks before they've got to be under contract to close before the end of the year.
Yeah.
What do we do?
So let's first just figure out like the whole two things, right? For one, what's the reason we builders do specs, right? Build these homes without a buyer. The first reason is because it helps them, helps builders produce like guaranteed revenue. Like, hey, we have this thing that can close fast. It allows us to fill our pipeline. The second reason, and more, I think the reason we want to think about is because it gives buyers options. It gives buyers options, and it gives them buyers options. If you have two different buyers and one buyer likes the idea of making decisions and wants to have things their way and pick out the lot, pick out the floor plan, pick out the flooring and stuff like that, then a to-be-built is the answer with that person. But there's a lot of buyers who don't want to make all those decisions, don't have time to make those decisions. And so I think understanding why we have specs is the first. The second reason is why do specs sit? Why do specs sit? And the number one reason specs sit, and I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but I was a salesperson, so I think I have liberty to say this. I believe the reason specs sits is because we don't pay attention to them. We just don't. And what you give attention to and intention to is what will sell. And I think that's why we sell if you look in your communities, your model home, whatever design your model home is, that's the one that sells the most. It doesn't matter what your favorite is, whatever. If you're sitting in a maple lawn floor plan, you're going to sell more maple lawns than anything else because it's fresh on your mind. It's what you think. I know Brooke thinks it's like what your favorite is. The model home always sells the most. The model home, and usually those two things are the same. But I think that the idea is you have to make sure you give attention to your quick delivery homes. I can tell you the number one way, I'm going to get so much flack for this, but the number one way to sell spec homes is if you are as a salesperson are in those spec homes every single day. If you walk from top to bottom, those homes every single day, you get to your community. If you're in a community, if you're not in a community working in a sales center, it'll be a little bit more difficult. I'll talk about that in a second, right? But if you're in a community where you have a spec home, start your day off before you even go to your model home to unlock it. Go walk every spec in your community, top to bottom, every single day. I don't care if nothing changes. What happens is you're conditioning your mind to see what is important. And we already know you find what you focus on. So if you go into those spec homes, it's not only going to come out in every conversation that you have with a customer, it's going to come out when you're with your friends, you're going to come out when you're talking to realtors. Like you get to know those things so intimately that it will literally come out in every action you do. I think the second thing is you have to get fresh eyes on it. I think this is really important. Have a friend, have a buddy, have a real estate agent that you know. Pay them to come and look at them. Brooke is amazing at this. Brooke is absolutely the best in the business at this. Well, she's best in the business a lot of things. She's definitely the best in the business of this. And that is, she can go into a community where a salesperson has been for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and she can find 5-page list of things to change. Look at your listings. Look at this. We went into a community a couple weeks ago, and the salespeople thought it was great. And you go in, and there's dead bugs on the carpets. The landscaping doesn't look good. So because we see it, we need fresh perspectives on it. So allow other people to give you feedback on those specs. 3, check your listings. Man, check your listings. If the listings are dated, if the pictures are dated, check your listings. 4, this is probably the most important one, right? Don't take them for granted. A lot of times what salespeople think is, well, I have these spec homes over here, but I'll eventually get around to selling them. And I don't think salespeople think about that consciously. I think unconsciously they're not thinking about selling them. You have to bring them to the conscious. Make a point to get as many people. Forget selling them. Just get as many of your customers through them as possible. Like, make it a goal. Instead of worrying about selling the spec homes today, just see this week how many people you can get to tour them with you. And for the love of all that's holy, please don't ever let anybody tour them without you. Don't give the keys to a real estate agent and say, go ahead and show it if you want. Don't schedule showing after hours unless you're going to be there. I'm saying, don't allow somebody else to. Rule number 2 of selling is don't let anything or anybody sell for you. Don't expect the real estate agent or somebody else to sell that spec home for you. You have to sell it. So don't let anybody else tour that model home, that spec home without you. If you do these 5 things, I'm telling you, you will sell the spec homes. It's not magic. It's what you give attention to and intention to is what you'll have success in.